Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about BioWare not getting to make a Dragon Age remaster, and Battlefield 6 is doing real well. It's going to be a good one because we have Lex Luddy on the show. Lexi, how are you doing?
It's Gamescom next week. Fuck.
Oh, oh no. That's
Yeah.
a lot of work. My understanding is there's a lot of games there to be seen. A lot of appointments. If you want to have appointments, apparently there's a lot of them.
There's
Are you
so
busy?
many.
Oh no.
It's been a quiet year for Lexi, we'll say, when it comes to getting commissions. That's just the state of freelancing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have managed to get a website in the US to be like, listen, whatever appointments you can get, we'll take a write-up of. So now I'm just taking any appointment I can get. So my schedule is massively overbooked, and I know it is. So we're gonna see how that goes.
Ooh, fun. Well, I'm excited for you though. I'm sure you'll find ways to have a good time. Would love to get out to Gamescom one day. We couldn't make it happen this year, but maybe next year we'll get back out there.
Grubb, you would love it. There's a bunch of terrible smelling gamers there. Just like I know you love the game scent, so you'd feel right at home.
Give me the gamer scent. Yeah, that's actually a slight difference there. Yeah, I love the gamer scent. Not less busy over here in terms of events, but still pretty busy. We got lots of stuff happening over on a Giant Bomb. People should be checking out the beta of the website starting tomorrow. You should do that. If you are a premium member, you get it. You get into the beta. All the details are in the Discord. If you are wondering or if you need any help, just ping us in there. Ping Chuck. Bother Chuck. That's what he's there for.
Yeah. And remember, if anything goes wrong, it's Chuck's fault.
Oh God, yes, of course. Everyone should know that by now. But very excited about that. Just really enamored with the work he's doing over there. The site's looking great. So very excited to get that back up off the ground.
I heard about one particular bug fix that got me very excited. As someone who watches a lot of videos on the website, hearing that bug had been fixed, I was like, "Oh, Chuck, I love you."
Yep, he's making headway. It's good stuff. You've been playing anything recently? What have you been kind of checking in on?
Not too much. I've been in like a weird kind of downstate with games. There's just nothing much had been. I checked out Ninja Gaiden Ragebound and I finished that, and that's pretty good. But it's not, like a big long thing that you can put much time into. I've been bouncing around between a lot of things. I loaded up Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch too, and I'm gonna try to finally finish that before the end of the year.
Good call.
Because I never beat that game, and I kind of left off after finishing the 4 first dungeons, kind of. So I never saw the back half of that game. And I'm like trying to get to that. I'm more so like looking at stuff that's coming out and being like, yeah, there's some stuff that I'm interested in. Metal Gear Solid and Shinobi. Shinobi I played that demo of, and I really dug that demo.
Yeah,
I think I might like it more than Ninja Gaiden, which I know isn't like a fair comparison, but is what it is. There's some stuff coming out in like September as well that I'm interested in. I'm a Borderlands fucko. Like, I don't like it. I don't like saying it.
Someone has to be.
Yeah, but like it's been long enough, and I disliked Borderlands 3 enough that I'm like, I could do with another good Borderlands, and I'll fall for the trick again. I'll assume this will be a good one.
Why didn't you like 3? Like, and then to still be hopeful for 4, I guess.
So like 3 changed a lot of systems, and on top of that, boy, people talk about Borderlands writing not being good. Borderlands 2, and especially its DLC, at least had some good writing in it and some good character moments and stuff. Borderlands 3's writing is dreadful. It's real bad. The villains are some of the worst written characters imaginable.
Are they the streamers? Is that one?
Yes. Yeah, that's that
Sweet.
one. Yeah. And like, even when those previous games at least had interesting villains, this game doesn't have that. So yeah, I actually kind of liked Tiny Tina's Wonderland, the one with Will Arnett. That game's not that bad. It's like pretty okay.
Yep. Okay. Well, you got to.
And then they shut down that studio, so
Yeah, God, that's right. Yeah. You have to watch that movie before you're allowed to play Borderlands 4. I know you've seen it.
Here's the thing, Grubb. Yeah, I already have, and I brought a
Gotta
friend.
watch it again.
I brought another games journalist friend to it who had never played the games before,
Hell
and she was
yeah.
like, "I don't think I'm going to start playing these games." I was like, "Yeah, good, okay,
Yeah, you saved another
objective
one.
complete." Yeah,
Fantastic. All right, let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb, a small team of video game doofuses who rely on your support so that we can make the cool stuff you see on the site. If you like it, you should support us. Go to giantbomb.com/join. Become a premium member like a lot of other people have. We really appreciate the support. It really does go a long way. It gets you ad-free shows, gets you a lot of extras. That's giantbomb.com/join. We appreciate it. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with. I'm sorry, I was. If you hear me laughing there, maybe my green screen's on, and maybe,
I'm learning about like the San Francisco Zoo. I think.
yeah, maybe my live producer's having fun, and I'm enjoying it myself, actually. So let's see what else happens today. Xbox's new game, or Xbox's next gen console reportedly set to be a monster PC with changeable hardware. Before we get into this, as a reminder, Xbox is under a target from the BDS movement as part of its responsibility in the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. It is helping out the state of Israel with AI and Azure, and can go fuck itself. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. While we still seem to be years away from any sort of next-gen hardware outside of Nintendo Switch 2, of course, that doesn't stop people speculating, especially when it comes to Xbox. As the Green Team has largely given up on exclusives now and doesn't seem to be too interested in selling as many consoles as its competitors, gamers are expecting something big from the next generation of Xbox hardware to boost interest again. A new video by Digital Foundry goes over recent leaks of AMD's reported Magnus hardware. The tech specs can be found in the video, but to keep it brief, the GPU and CPU look to be more than anything we've seen before in consoles, including the PS5 Pro, Xbox Series X, and blah, blah, blah. You would hope it would be. Perhaps more interesting is the mention of there being separate die sizes for this hardware, which theoretically means you could have an Xbox with a larger or smaller GPU if required. This points further to Xbox's next console being more of a superpowered mix between a console and a PC. It's possible that there will be multiple tiers of this hardware, allowing for various budgets to still experience next-gen gaming. Of course, it's worth remembering none of this is confirmed yet by Xbox. It's that story again, Lexi, that, hey, the next gen Xbox is going to be a PC. What form that takes, what structure that takes in terms of how you select one as a consumer. Or I guess this is beginning to shed a little bit of light on how that would work. I guess what I really wonder is, like, okay, if you put out like a tiered system of various PCs as Xboxes, how do you make those feel special? How do you avoid confusing people? How do you maintain the benefit of console, which is for a lot of people is it's just going to work? Is this thing gonna be Windows? And really, have you made enough improvements to Windows to justify this?
Just what I wanted, another Windows device.
Exactly. Like it's so I don't know. I get why they're doing this because, yeah, like at a certain point, if you are no longer in the we are making exclusive games for our Xbox business, what is the business of Xbox at all in terms of hardware? So yeah, going the PC route makes sense from that front. How do you like actually make an Xbox a PC though? I don't know. What do you think?
First of all, rest in peace to the Steam machine. You'll always be famous to me.
Yeah, right. So you're joking, but I'm right there with you.
It's what it is. It's what they're doing. They're licensing the brand out to Asus.
Yes. So the Steam machine was before there was the Steam Deck. Steam Valve tried to get into the hardware game by partnering with third-party PC manufacturers.
Yeah.
Yes, to make PCs that were like Steam boxes is kind of what we call them colloquially. And the reality is those things came out and no one really wanted them. They were consoles as PCs and they had Steam OS on them. Now, it was a little bit early. Steam OS was a little underbaked. Linux gaming was in a weird spot. So that probably contributed a lot to it. But that never spoke to me as like the main reason people weren't interested in them. It seemed like the main reason was people didn't get it. They just didn't get like, okay, if I want a PC, I'll just get a PC.
Yeah.
Do you think the same thing is going to afflict the Xbox?
I do think so, because the only marketing strategy that you can have for something like this is, hey, it's just like a PC. But the second you look into it, you're like, okay, but it can't do stuff that PCs can do. Like, can I answer my emails on it? Can I do that on? And as soon as that like stuff starts to add up and people see that as a value detraction on it, they'll be like, no, why not? Why not just build a PC? This whole thing has been really weird. There has been a vibe coming out of Microsoft the last couple of months. I'd say like 18 months of like last day of school after you've sat all your exams, but you still have to come into school anyway. And like all you're there and you just don't give a shit. Instead of like actually doing anything, you're sitting at the back of the class talking to people. You're like getting 8-bit dough to make your anniversary controllers for you. You're getting Asus to make your handheld for you. Like, you just are totally checked out. Every vibe I get off of Microsoft as a corporate entity, not like the people below them making the games, gives the vibe of like, hey, we've lost the stomach for this. This thing is long in the tooth and we're kind of done. And we're going to see out our investments, but we might not keep going much past there.
Yeah, we're going to see out our investments. We're not going to make new investments, and that includes making new investments in the current ongoing efforts of Xbox. So, yeah, I think everything you described there does lead back to that sort of being the case, where, yeah, we want to keep doing stuff that represents Xbox, but we got to do it on the cheap, and that means outsourcing everything where possible. And it sounds like that could be what ends up happening with the hardware here. Now, do you think Microsoft's hardware division puts out an Xbox themselves and then also welcomes in third parties to like offer variations on it that are like a lot more powerful, or maybe even more of an entry level machine, or what? Or do they just exclusively have stuff from Asus and Acer and whatever?
You'd hope they'd do something themselves if they had any degree of interest anymore in the video game industry, but you just don't get that vibe. Like, I've had the conversation with people of like, if I was one of the studio heads at a Double Fine or an Arcane or wherever, I would be ringing up Toys for Bob asking them how they bought their independence back. I would be like, how do we get out of this system? Because I don't think this is a system that cares long term about whether we exist or not. So yeah, like I really don't know what a future could look like for Microsoft now when they seem so disengaged with doing anything. Like, people joked about it, but they do just seem like they are gonna become the Call of Duty company. They're just like, okay, we're done now. Which, that shit will suit them down to the ground. They love that bullshit. They love bombing people.
Yes, that's their main business, apparently. The AMD chips are going to be pretty powerful this next round of consoles. AMD's kind of really hit their stride with well, obviously with CPUs have been very good for them. Their GPUs seem to be coming together, especially now with all the software tech. FSR is getting really good. That's their DLSS equivalent. So it's just kind of, yeah, if you're making new hardware right now, it's got to be like, okay, very cool. We have lined things up in such a way that we have a vendor that can provide us with something that is going to feel like a pretty huge leap. Now, of course, will the games look all that different? Probably not. But yeah, it's just kind of a shame that Microsoft has got this opportunity to really figure out what the next Xbox could be, and it doesn't seem all that interested in doing that, other than let's just make it a PC and partner with some others and let them do the hard work. All right, let's keep going here. Former BioWare exec producer says EA was pitched multiple times to remaster the first 3 Dragon Age games. This is from Jordan Midler at VGC. BioWare made several pitches to remaster the first 3 Dragon Age games, according to a former BioWare veteran. Speaking on the YouTube channel Mr. Maddie Plays, shout out to Maddie, Mark Dara, a former BioWare executive producer who joined the studio in 1997 and worked there for nearly 24 years, said EA wasn't keen to remaster the first 3 games in the series in the same style as the Mass Effect Legendary Collection. Dara says that there was a number of reasons for this, including EA's apparent dislike of remaster projects. EA's historically been, and I don't really know why, but they've even said this publicly, they're kind of against remasters, Dara said. It's strange for a publicly traded company to basically seem to be against free money, but they seem to be against it. But that's just part of it. The other problem is that Dragon Age is just harder than Mass Effect to do, and to some degree, unknowably harder. Maybe only a little bit harder, maybe a lot harder. So I would get this question all the time, Lexi. After the Mass Effect Legendary Edition stuff happened, and I was like breaking that and was talking about that, the BioWare people came to me and like, Grubb, tell me about Dragon Age. What's happening with Dragon Age? Are we going to get the same thing for Dragon Age? And whenever I would ask about it, I was told no. Just no, flat out no. And then the reasons were basically what Dara's saying here, that it is much more difficult. The big reason is that every Mass Effect game used Unreal Engine. So the effort to improve one would likely spill over to helping with the improvement of the next game. So every action had a knock-on effect that would save money down the line for this project. That's not the case for Dragon Age, which I think only the third one, Inquisition, used. That used Frostbite, right? God, the first and second one were on the older, engine from BioWare, and so it's like, okay, immediately that you have a problem there. The other issue is that the stories are not like linear, with one leading into the next, into the next necessarily. There are a lot of things that separate one story from the other. And so I think EA, maybe some at BioWare, we're looking at that being like, it just doesn't have the same impact as Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So maybe it's not going to be worth it. I think those two factors were the biggest things. I'm sure there's a bunch of others, that's what I was told. Do you think they ever change their mind on this, Lexi? It feels like in the grand scale of time, we will eventually get something along these lines, right?
At one point, I would have said yes, but that franchise has become such the ugly stepsister of BioWare when it comes to internally within EA. They do not view the Dragon Age franchise glowingly. Like, even though the Veilguard sold quite a lot, it did not reach expectations at all. Which, like, those expectations also, from what I hear, were like fucking nuts.
Yes.
And on top of that, like, I don't know if there's a BioWare around to do this in 10 years' time. Like, it is a skeleton crew working on that new Mass Effect from what I can tell.
Careful. Last time I described EA as having a skeleton crew working on a game, they got real mad at me, even though it was true.
Yeah, sorry. It is a agile team working on the new Mass Effect. And I like worry that even if that game does go on and become successful, they don't necessarily see BioWare as the flagship studio that it once was. I think they now look at the collection of studios that make up Battlefield Studios as their flagship studio, as the ones that will receive new investment to do new things. Especially considering, like, Vince Zampella, their kind of like golden boy of development design, is there at the moment. And I don't think you're going to see, like, at one point, BioWare was bringing back Casey Hudson after he left. I don't think BioWare is going to be bringing in big name talent like that again. It's like, that doesn't mean there's not good people going to get hired at BioWare. People who love those games will apply for jobs at BioWare and they'll be really fucking good at what they do. But I don't think you're going to see, like, the big name, big money bets on, let's bring back a well-known developer to get this thing off the ground and to, like, see these projects through.
Yep. I think that's an accurate assessment of kind of where they're at with this, where like we talked about losing appetites. EA's definitely lost their appetite to sort of figure out BioWare. And it's like Mass Effect they'll do Mass Effect, sure. I do wonder what the expectations are for that. I wonder if they have high expectations again, or if they're just like, no, we're doing this sort of out of obligation.
They have insane expectations for it because they're like also greenlighting a TV show around it. So they're gonna
Yeah.
expect it to like be some cross-media collaboration massive thing, and it's gonna go fucking terribly for them because they're out of their goddamn minds.
Yep. It's just like every company in this space, apparently. Okay. We'll keep moving here. Battlefield 6 beta eclipses Call of Duty player record on Steam. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. Weekends are usually the busiest time for new game releases, and the Battlefield 6 open beta was, fortunately, no exception to that rule. Once the game switched from early access to open beta, the numbers soared, and Battlefield 6 reached an impressive 521,000 concurrent players. That's via Steam database. A second open beta is scheduled for August 14th through the 17th. And if you're planning to play on PS5, there's an exclusive skin you can claim if you choose to purchase the game later this year. To put that into perspective, Call of Duty headquarters, which includes Call of Duty Warzone, it's their launcher, peaked at 67,595 players on Steam during the weekend, and Battlefield 6 surpassed the free-to-play game's all-time peak of 491,670 concurrent players. People can use that to launch Warzone, which is the free-to-play version. Yeah, so that's a bigger number than the other. I think that I know I'm surprised by this, Lexi. That this game is finding its footing in such a strong way out of the gate with this beta. I think it just shows that people want something in this shooter space that feels both familiar but fresh. And Battlefield 6 might be exactly that. I don't think none of this is a guarantee that that game is going to like do exactly what EA needs it to do and be the game that they want it to be. But it's all a really good sign that so far this game can capture the attention of gamers in a way that Battlefield feels like it hasn't been able to do for a very long time.
Yeah, Jan. By the way, I just sent you a DM of something very important. Grubb. This has been really like weird and interesting because I think people are really hungry for a new shooter thing, and it's at the perfect time, which is it has been the longest possible time since the announcement and release of a new Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are getting this beta in right under the wire of when COD
But
tends to start showing off the next game,
but
which is
even
a
that
really
next Call
smart
of
way to do
Duty
it.
it's a Black Ops sequel again. People just got a
Yeah,
Black Ops, so I think that
yeah.
they're like the fervor for what Call of Duty is even doing is like lower than most years. So I think that the Call of Duty people are going to go play Call of Duty, of course. But I think there's a huge casual audience that's like ready to flip over to something else, at least for a little while.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if this game is sticky for people because I definitely had the experience of getting into a close quarters game and then just like getting my shit wrecked and being like, well, I'm just not built for the rules of operation for this game. And like the thing that I've always run into with Battlefield, and it's always been like difficult, is it's very hard to have a singular impact as a player, and it's really hard for you to feel like you turn the tide of a match. So you're gonna have a lot of games where you just get your ass whooped and it does not matter what you do. And like that doesn't feel good in the long term. And I'm curious if that like affects this game's growth in the long term.
Yeah, I mean, Battlefield has had its fans, and it's still that game. And I think it's maybe with Battlefield 6 here, it is maybe the best version it's been of itself in quite some time in terms of delivering those big epic moments where it does feel like you're part of a massive movement of troops. And when you kind of all begin to work together, that's when you change things on the battlefield. You're right that like as a lone soldier, even the times where it's like, oh, I made a good move there. I made a good play. I got us into B. It's like, I don't know if that's really affecting anything because I can see over there's a huge battle that my team is losing that I'm not a part of. And I'm like, I'm completely disconnected from that. But I don't think that really hurts the game. But I think people want to feel like they're part of something big and also not feel like their mistakes are counting against their team in a really negative way. You can kind of get lost in the shuffle. So maybe there's a dual-sided blade there. And at the end, I think this game looks good enough and plays well enough that it is really well positioned to take advantage of all of this excitement. Um, I do think that, okay, so we got the core version of Battlefield here. They are still talking about the free to play version, which I still don't fully understand. Have you kept up with that? Do you know what they plan to do there?
I what I think it's going to be is going to be like that fire break or the firestorm, their version of a battle royale,
Yeah,
that they teased at the end of their event.
right.
I think that's going to be their free to play mode. Firestorm, yeah, Firestorm. So I think that will be what they do. But yeah, again, I still people notoriously were like, "Hey, we don't want a battle royale in Battlefield" when that happened. So I'm curious if that even takes. But it will be interesting to see how it plays out. Like 500,000 is a big number, especially just on Steam. I bet Steam is probably going to be their biggest platform, but they still have two other platforms adding to those numbers. Um, and again, beta is like zero commitment. It is an open beta. It
Yep.
is free. Anyone can get in. But I'll be very curious to see what the word of mouth leads to for next weekend's open beta and how that affects it. Because if it grows and if it's bigger next weekend, then that's like a really good sign for them.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I am looking forward to tracking along with this game. I did enjoy it. Will I play a ton of it? Probably not, but I'll play some more. Honestly, it made me want to go play some more Star Wars Battlefront too. So maybe I'll
To,
do
to
some more
be
of that.
to be fair, you do have a hard carry on Mike Minardi.
That's
He'll
right.
he'll really help you out.
That shotgun of his so dangerous. Everybody,
Oh
stand back,
boy,
especially if you're on his team.
he'll hit
All
everything on the battlefield except for the humans. It will be impressive.
That's a really good clip. People should go check that out on his Blue Sky. Okay, let's take a quick break. There's more Battlefield to talk about, but let's get it after the break. If you want to skip this, go to giantbomb.com/join. In the meantime, we'll be right back after these messages. This episode of Giant Bomb is brought to you by giantbomb.com/join. Join us there, become a member. It helps us make fun stuff. It gets you ad-free content. It also helps us make some extras here and there that we'll give exclusively to you as members. It's giantbomb.com/join for $10 a month or $100 a year, where you save $20. You can support us in making all the cool stuff that we make over here at Giant Bomb. Once again, that's giantbomb.com/join. Become a member now. It's Game Mess Mornings. I'm Jeff Grubb. That's Lex Luddy. Lexi, let's get back into the news with enabling secure boot for Battlefield 6 is turning into a nightmare for some. This is from Chris Pereira at GameSpot. Shoutouts to Chris. Battlefield 6 on PC requires secure boot, something meant to help ward off cheaters. For many, this is already enabled and thus a non-issue as they attempt to play the beta. For others, it may mean taking a trip into the BIOS menu that they're unaccustomed to seeing, but ultimately something that can be resolved in a matter of minutes. For others still, the process of enabling secure boot is turning out to be a much bigger problem. Secure boot is often enabled by default on newer PCs, but that's not always the case. Many people may have never even heard of it before, but with a great deal of interest in the newly launched Battlefield 6 beta, many people are hearing the term for the first time and perhaps having to figure out what acronyms like BIOS and UEFI refer to, and how to deal with the possibility that the drive Windows is installed on uses MBR instead of GPT. Yeah, I was actually dealing with that, but for a different reason, reinstalling Windows on my kid's PC. It's been a hassle. Yeah, I mean, God, I also realized I don't think I've ever said the UFI or UFI out loud before. This is a feature that is baked into motherboards now, and some operating systems take advantage of it. It's like a very low-level security tool that games like Battlefield 6 and others are going to start using to prevent cheaters in their game. And it's going to work for, let me check my watch, 5 minutes, and then they'll figure out a way around it. And then there will be cheaters in there, and you will still have had to do all this stupid shit to get secure boot working on Battlefield 6. Did you have any trouble with this? Did you play on PC when you played?
I played on console, but
Okay.
we gotta stop giving Greg Miller free ammo like this.
It's getting frustrating. It's getting bad.
like every time we try to be like, no, there's something to like PC gaming, and like, you can do so much stuff with it. Stuff like this comes up, and he can go on his big podcast or whatever and take off his shirt and start yelling about how bad PCs are again.
Uh-huh.
I will say I feel like very empathetic towards people that have had to boot up their BIOS and aren't familiar with that stuff.
Oh yeah,
Because
that's
boy,
scary.
I tried to set up a Magic PS2 this weekend, and I ran my first bash prompt, and let me tell you, that bash prompt failed. So, I understand the frustration of not really knowing what's going on, and maybe following guides, and the guides not working, and then going, well, I don't really fully understand this thing.
Yep, and it's frustrating because it's they say, hey, just go turn on secure boot. Go in your BIOS and turn it on. And every BIOS is different, has it in a different spot, might call it something different. It's a hassle. BIOSes, and when I say that, I'm also referring to UFIs. They are a pain in the ass. They are actually pretty bad. They are like developed with like the idea of whoever's using this is going to know what they're doing. And if you go in there and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be overwhelmed more than likely. Now,
and like you can fuck up an install. You can fuck up stuff if you are really good at fucking up things, which lots of gamers are, and you're really hard headed. You can fuck up some shit by fucking around in your BIOS for too long.
Yep. Now you can figure it out, but I guess this is another reason I'm so surprised by that number. A lot of people must have figured it out because they're playing the game and they seem pretty interested in trying to get through this. So they solved their problems, or most people just have new enough PCs that they didn't have to do this. I didn't. Hello, kiddo. I'm in the middle of a show. I'll help you guys later. All right. So this is going to help with cheaters, right? This is going to stop cheaters in the game. Well, we'll see. The Battlefield 6 open beta is apparently already dealing with those cheaters. This is from Jason Finelli at GameSpot. The Battlefield 6's open beta early access period has begun, and footage of explosions and simulated military action have been flooding the internet ever since. While a lot of players are sharing cool things they did and having a good time, a rising number of people are lamenting the fact that despite EA's best efforts, multiple cheaters have already surfaced within the open beta test. Multiple social media posts have shown footage of cheaters in action, including one from Twitter user It's Hoppa that appears to show a player with the ability to view every player in the match, friend or foe, no matter where that player was on the map. Another Twitter user, 10IQ Gaming YouTube, claimed that within hours, a group of cheaters were able to play with ESP, aimbot, and radar. Battlefield 6 producer Alexia
ESP, they're
Kristoff.
psychics? Oh
They're
no!
psychic. They have that sixth sense. Yeah. Replied to It's Happa's post directly addressing the posted clip, saying that the team was aware of the exploit and that she believed the player is already banned. No official comment has been left on the clip from 10IQ Gaming YouTube as of this writing. The clips of cheaters come despite EA using secure boot technology for the PC version of the game, which requires players to modify the core settings of the PC they'll be playing on. That Jason Finelli is a good writer. Okay, yeah. So here we are. We just talked about having to go in your BIOS to stop the cheaters, and the cheaters are still getting in the game. It was funny. I saw some people like posting like some of these cheaters are just dumb idiots using stuff they found on the internet. Like they're like typing their commands into chat for everyone to see because they didn't know where else to put it. So just good stuff all around. Yeah, you kind of, it's hard to stop the cheaters, and you kind of really the only game you can be playing with them is whack-a-mole. As they pop up, you knock them, you ban them, and you ban their IP or whatever. Try to fully ban their account, maybe ban their credit card. I don't know, but that seems to be the real way to deal with this, right?
Yeah, like it's a never-ending battle, and I get why companies feel like they have to be the ones to make a protective like stance to like start with their shields up to some extent, but so often like they may as well just get in there manually. So often it feels like you like this is going to be defeated. Your first like line of security is going to be defeated so quickly. And then you'll just go back to trying to manage this the old-fashioned way with a moderation hammer. So yeah, it's frustrating that they have to deal with it. But it doesn't seem like as widespread as some other games have at launch, which is good. So yeah.
Yep, I am. I didn't see any cheaters while I was playing, So while it, like, the numbers we're hearing 300,000 or whatever that they have already dealt with, if that, if that is the real number, something I think that was thrown out there somewhere. Um, it's yeah, okay. That's going to happen in a big game like this. I think that I am likely not going to run into them at this point, but it is the kind of thing. Once it starts, it begins to spread if they don't deal with it. So as long as they are, kind of going there and trimming things up, pruning things, keeping that bush from getting too out of control in the garden there, then it's probably going to be just fine when I go to play the game for real. But who knows? There's people who play games like this a ton and can spot a hacker every single time, and it really does ruin the experience for them. Multiplayer games continue to be in a weird place. I don't ever get the cheating thing. Just cheating with random people, trying to ruin someone else's time. Seems like a really stupid waste of time, but there are stupid people who love to waste their time. So what am I going to do about it? All right. AOL will end dial-up service internet in September, 34 years after its debut. The AOL Shield browser and AOL dialer software will be shuttered on the same day. This is from Mark Tyson at Tom's Hardware. Dial-up connectivity stalwart AOL has set a date for cutting off the remainder of its old tech internet holdouts. AOL, now a Yahoo property, will end its dial-up internet service. The public's on September 30th, 2025. Its dial-up service has been publicly available for 34 years and has provided many an internet surfer's first taste of the WWW, the World Wide Web. AOL will also end its AOL dialer software and AOL Shield browser. Rest in peace to the slow band. Hey, it's a little bit gaming related. People used to play games on a dial-up connectivity that they might have paid AOL for way back in the day. AOL was my first ISP when I was a kid and my family first got on the internet. It was AOL, and I used the AOL portal, the software, to eventually access the browser to get to the wider internet. But I was in a lot of those chat rooms and Strike a Match, if anyone remembers that AOL game or whatever. Yeah, a lot of fond memories of that. It is weird to see this go away. But hey, you know what? Cable internet, way better.
They looked at the state of the internet and they said, our job here is done.
Yeah,
it is as good as it's ever going to be. We did it. Mission accomplished. Everyone can go home.
They don't want their computers to get reinfected. Just unplug them. Let's just unplug this stuff. We don't want it to get back to us now.
They're going to start their own internet that's just AOL services. And it's disconnected from everyone else. Which, I as someone who wasn't alive during that era, I would go back and use that. That sounds nice.
It was, it was a good time. There was you had a real strong sense of camaraderie with the other people using the internet in that time. That went away fast. It was a brief glimpse of a better life, and then we found all of the ways to make it terrible and the worst. And here we are now on this show. Hello, everybody. I liked AOL, despite it being kind of bad in a lot of ways. It was not the right way to experience the internet. You did want the raw data just streamed to your Netscape navigator, and that was the way to do it. But still, end of an era, 34 years. It's weird because it's that sounds both like a long time and a blink of an eye at the same time. 34 years. If I met a 34-year-old and be like, you haven't been around all that long. And AOL would and really its dial-up services were irrelevant for 20 of that, at least 15 years of that. So yeah, it's a shame, but also it was a long time coming. Diablo series head Rod Fergusson leaves Blizzard after 5 years. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. Diablo series head Rod Fergusson has announced that he has left Blizzard. Fergusson, who was previously a program manager at Microsoft before working at Epic Games to lead on Gears of War, moved on to Irrational Games, 2K, and Black Tusk Studios before returning to Microsoft to serve as studio head of the Coalition and work on Gears again. Fergusson then left the Coalition after nearly 5 years to join Blizzard and lead the Diablo franchise. But following the sale of Activision Blizzard, he found himself under the Microsoft umbrella for the third time. Now, Fergusson has taken to social media to confirm that he has stepped down from his role as Blizzard's senior vice president and Diablo general manager in search of a new challenge. When I joined Blizzard 5 years ago, I had two main goals, besides getting my sword, which I guess is something you get when you work there, to revitalize one of my favorite franchises of all time and to have a meaningful impact on the company I admired, he wrote on LinkedIn. And it is with great pride and gratitude that I can now look back on this period of my career and say that not only did I achieve those goals, but having the privilege of leading this team alongside some of my favorite people in the world and shipping amazing experiences for our players helped me to grow as a leader and as a person. He goes on to say nice things about Diablo and other things. This is Rod Fergusson. This is what he does. I think he's got a reputation inside the industry of being somewhat of a closer. He's the actual Benz. Get me the Benz. It is get me the Rod. And Rod will make sure that your game gets finished.
Colin K. Shaw.
You got
you can't
no.
say,
This it's the
you
good
can't
Rod.
Say that,
This is the
you
good.
can't
Good,
say that on
it's a good
streams
Rod
anymore.
You think Mike Minotti, our HR, is going to do anything about this? You got to know better than that. Yeah. See, home free over here. Rod will move on to something else, I'm sure, and find a job where he will help another game actually ship. That is his area of expertise. Although, he's been there for a long time. So once he kind of settles in, also, I think can do other stuff. I guess the question might be to you, Lexi, what do you think this means for Diablo?
Yeah, Diablo's in a weird spot because, I remember hearing all the stories of it's basically like the Destiny 2 team that came in there and or the Vicarious Visions.
Yes, yeah.
They came in there and they kind of took over a lot of development for and they were integrated into Blizzard in a way that they could not be unintegrated into Blizzard even if you wanted. And so I think that on one hand, I probably don't feel great about that being part of his legacy of taking away Vicarious Visions as a cool independent studio, doing weird ports of games and doing all these different things. On the other hand, they did fix that game and they got it out and people still play it and it does quite well. So yeah, I'm curious what the future holds for Diablo. They've only done 2 or 3 big expansions, so they still have a lot of road that they can cover with that game. So, and we'll probably see some of that at Gamescom. They love showing up there. They always have some sort of presence. Blizzard do. So yeah, it's a weird spot.
Yep, it's I think your assessment of Diablo sounds right to me. It's the kind of thing where that is a game that a year from now, the sentiment around it could be 1,000,000% different. It could be a complete 180, and that just feels like, okay, yeah, Diablo will find its way. It's too important to too many people for them to let it languish. Even if Diablo 4 is in a weird spot right now, or maybe even a bad spot. So yes, they'll figure it out. I don't think this means much for the future of Diablo, other than they will maintain the current game for quite some time and try to figure that out. And then as far as Rod Fergusson, look, there's going to be a lot of studios that need his help. Will he try to maybe he could try to start his own thing? Although he doesn't seem interested in doing that, but I don't know. Maybe he'll surprise us. Okay.
He's going to bring back Gears Pop.
Yes, Gears Pop 2, made exclusively by an indie studio helmed by one person, Rod Fergusson. I want to see it. Okay, Far Cry TV show featuring Always Sunny and Alien Earth talent reportedly in development. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. It looks like Far Cry will be the next high-profile video game series getting a TV adaptation, as Ubisoft confirmed the news on its official site before quickly deleting the post. This being the intent, nothing is ever truly deleted, no matter how briefly it's online for, and the original announcement has been preserved. Over on Reddit, those people who did manage to see the original announcement say that the show will star Rob Mack, the Always Sunny in Philadelphia actor, who recently changed his name from Rod McElhenney, and he'll also produce the series alongside Noah Hawley, Jackie Chan, Michael Garcia, and Nick Frankel.
Jackie Cohen.
Jackie Cohen. Sorry, I was just watching Police Story last night, so he's on my, so it's in my head. It would be better if it was Jackie Chan. Let's be real.
It would be really weird if the 85-year-old Jackie Chan was like, "I want to make a Far Cry movie."
I want to make a Far Cry. I was about to say, we got to talk about this Jackie Chan fella being involved in Far Cry. Jackie Cohen. There we go. On the Ubisoft side, Gerard Guillemot Margaret Boykin and Austin Dill are also attached in various roles, and the series is reportedly in development at FX. Um, Noah Hawley being involved is actually the thing that
Yeah,
really shocks
that
me.
Legion TV show fucking rules.
Eh,
I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, but it's great.
I've not. He did Fargo as well, right? That was him.
He did a bit of Fargo as well. He is doing Alien Earth, which is getting really good reviews at the moment, and I'm very
Yes.
excited for. Um, I'm almost kind of like, man, Noah, don't attach yourself to a Ubisoft project. We know those never come out. We know these things
Hmm.
get announced. I'm still waiting for that Jake Gyllenhaal Division movie. Um, like, yeah, maybe in a world where this happens to be the one Ubisoft film project or TV project that gets some momentum and actually makes it to release, this is a cool creative team. And I think like Rob Mack might be a fun character to throw into one of those worlds, and I think that Noah Hawley, especially with some of the more trippy stuff that he did with Legion, is one of the few people able to like get away with that weirdness that some of the Far Cry games try for, and only some of them succeed in. Uh, but yeah, I don't think this happens. I really don't.
No, probably not. Like that's the safe bet for anything like this. It does feel like, these are two people who do get stuff made at FX. So if they really want to do it, they could. But they've also, I know for sure Rob Mack's been attached to stuff that hasn't come through before, and it's been a video game. His Minecraft
Yeah.
movie never happened. He was supposed to make Minecraft. And it's like, okay, yeah, that fell through, and eventually another Minecraft movie got made.
We're about due for a new Far Cry, aren't we? Like
Yes,
2021 was 6.
we'll hear
Man,
about it soon, I think.
that's gonna be some press cycle when that comes around. I bet it's gonna be real sensitive to ongoing topics and issues.
Yeah, what can it? Yeah, well, what setting could they even possibly go to
Like,
where
yeah,
they?
what ultimately, where could you even set it at this point where it wouldn't be so unbearably distasteful that you're like, you shouldn't be making this?
Yep, yep, exactly. I think as far as like is the ground fertile enough for a decent TV show from this creative team? I think so. I think they would probably just have fun with the setting and the villain being kind of out there. That would definitely be something they want to
They
do. I
do
think
Far Cry 3. They like Far Cry 3 would be the one you would do.
I think so. And that would be like that's something that does feel like you adapt it correct. Easily, that could be an FX show. I could really
Yeah.
see that. Is it an FX show that I end up watching? Probably not, but I'm not watching a lot of these shows, so whatever. I think yes. Let's read some more of the details here because there is more details about how the structure of the show will work. It's claimed that the show will be an anthology drama that will set each season in a new world and with a different cast of actors attached, emulating the storytelling approach of the games. This lines up with Ubisoft's current plans to focus on its tentpole properties, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, via a new spun off subsidiary of the company, funded in part by Tencent and led by Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot's son, Charlie Guillemot. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
this got greenlit because Tencent threw a bunch of money at them. That's what happened. Okay, now I get
yes,
it. Okay.
right. And that, right. And Tencent loves funding film and TV projects. So, yes, they have some money there probably. Um, it's like American Horror Story, another FX thing, an anthology series. They've had success with that. I think Far Cry being sort of the douchey Americans around the world get into this is maybe not the exact right comparison, but like Saul-like situations where they are punished for their Americanism and for being sort of young and beautiful. That is again a ripe, fertile ground for storytelling, and or at least the kind of thing that would do well on television. So yeah, I
Remember a few years back when there was a rumor that the next Far Cry was going to be set in like a fake Northern Ireland with Cillian Murphy?
no, I don't remember that.
That was a
I would have enjoyed
wild
it though.
fucking day on Twitter back then. That was like, yeah, some fucking leaker was like, oh, like it's gonna be Cillian Murphy and it's gonna be Northern Ireland, which like, okay, let fucking I want to see Ubisoft fuck that up.
Me too. Mike, do you remember that? He's still sleeping. Sorry.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
Okay, that does it for the headlines. Let's get to the poll. No, wait, there was no poll question. That's right. We changed up how
Rob,
these things work.
I do have to ask because
Please.
I said this to Christian the other day. Do you think that there's like a pretty good chance that Dan knows about the IRA through Tekken, and if so, does he think the IRA is just a thing in Tekken?
I don't think he'll even like be able to recall that. But
Okay,
yeah,
that's reassuring. That's a relief.
yeah, and we don't want him to. Yeah, we
Yeah.
just let's keep those things separate for now. All right. Yeah, if we didn't do the poll question, have you ever played DayZ 25% to 75%? Yes versus no. I think we talked about that on Friday though, Jan. So we do have a new poll question we'll get to here in a second. Before we do that, Lex Luddy, why don't you tell people where they could find you on the internet, what you have going on, and all of that good stuff?
Yes, I'm super busy. I will be covering Gamescom for Shack News over the next little while. I have an appointment to see 3 cough cough Capcom games that hasn't been picked up anywhere. So if anyone's looking for coverage of those games, let me know. I'm continuing to write stuff over at rewinder.co.uk. Most recently wrote a piece about sports video games, maps, and Palestine that I think is really good and you should check out. And still running startmenu.co.uk, which is a website for people trying to break into games media and games journalism. So if you are interested in that, check us out on Blue Sky or on the website. And I'm on Blue Sky at lexluddy.xyz.
All right, new poll question. Are you getting Battlefield 6? Maybe you had a lot of time to spend on the beta, you formed an opinion, or you watched a bunch of people play. Yes or no, are you getting Battlefield 6? We'll get the results of that and talk about it on Game Mess Mornings here on Giant Bomb on Wednesday. Speaking of Giant Bomb, Mitch is Mondays. We've said it a million times. I'll say it a million times in the future. Mitch is Mondays. Look out for
He's
Monday.
made Grubb move in with him for Mondays. It's
Yeah,
fucking weird.
I told him I might be busy and I couldn't do Riven, and he kidnapped me and put me in his home, as you can clearly see on this video. Yeah, Monday mornings missed with Mitch. Now moving on to Riven, we've been playing that the last episode. We're gonna continue that today. Then later it'll be Mega Man Monday evening gaming at Mike's at night. That'll be whatever he ends up feeling like playing. That'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern time. In the meantime, though, tomorrow, Bombcast. Rest of the week, you can expect Blight Club with, I guess, Jeff Passer. I'm going to be playing Jurassic Park Trespasser for the personal computer. Not sure what to expect from that.
Jeff Passer also sounds like something I might need to call HR about.
Yes, you got a Jeff Passer in your office. Yeah, you never want something like that. I am terrified because people just keep saying trespasser and then laugh. And that's all they'll say to me. And it's
have made it my business not to look at footage of this video game before you play it. I've heard about this video game, but I'm like, no, I want to go in fresh.
I thought it was like a CD-ROM sort of point and click FMV game. I had no idea what it was. So when I did the work to get it up and running, as I was told to do, with the help of Piston Hyundai from Dan's chat and the community, I like, okay, I need to see if it's going to work. So I moved around the first 2 steps to see, and it was like, oh, this is a first-person shooter game. This is a completely different game than I was expecting. And now people are like, it's like Half-Life before like Valve figured out all that stuff. I'm like, okay, that sounds insane.
This is probably going to be the second game on Blight Club worked on by the Jim Henson company.
Oh yeah, Jim Henson's Creature Factory or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I'm worried. I'm worried about it. All right, let's see. We talked about what we got coming up for the rest of the week. It's going to be a good week, everybody. Tune in. Giantbomb.com. Beyond that, I think I got to say thank you, Lexi, for hanging out with me today and talking about video games. I really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure to be on the show.
Thank you all for watching and listening. Excuse me. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself and goodbye.